as we are now joined in the booth by former Newport Gull broadcaster. As it is George Bissell. Thank you for joining us. Of course, you were with the Gulls. Let's see what you won. You were with the Gulls in 2011, and then you were
a long career. I could say, Steven, thanks for having me on, guys. I appreciate it. I know it's a 4-4 game tie in the 8th year, but this is an exciting one so far.
You were the broadcaster of the Gulls in 2011, and then director of operations 2012-13, correct?
That's correct, yeah. First year was 2011. Took over for Nick Lima, the longtime broadcaster here with the Newport Gulls, and that was an outstanding experience. I mean, those teams, when you look back on them, for those Gulls fans out there listening, the history of some of those players, those are some incredible teams. And that was quite an experience. We're really fortunate to have that.
Was one of your years the one with Mark Appel on the roster?
It was. One time he stole my charger on the bus.
That first pitch to Thomas misses low.
I think he was doing his engineering homework, and he said, hey, my laptop's about to die. We had the same laptop. We were coming back from North Shore, the Navigators at the time. No longer in the league, of course. But he goes, hey, I need to borrow your charger. And I go, yeah, no problem.
And he helps himself.
You know what?
Yeah, I can say
Speaking
no.
from experience, that's the most Stanford thing the guy could possibly do.
I tell you, he was the most dedicated, most thoughtful guy on that team.
Now the 2-0 misses low, so quickly the count 3-0 to Thomas.
Obviously, his professional career didn't go the way I think a lot of us thought it would, but anyone who talked to Mark at that time would have said, that's the consummate professional. That's a guy you want to lead your organization.
The 3-0 in there for strike one. Well, everyone that's talked about him here says he was absolutely lights out when you saw him, and there was no doubt that he was on the pathway to success at least.
Yeah, I mean, he was electric. He had a start against Laconia in the playoffs. Up Winnipesaukee now.
So that 3-1 misses low for ball 4. So Thomas is aboard with his first walk of the day.
And he went 8 innings in that start, and that's a small park. And he absolutely ripped through that Laconia lineup that night. He was dominant, and you could see why he was regarded as the top collegiate prospect coming out of Stanford there after 4 years.
Right. And so, of course, you had Mark Appel. You had some other top prospects, I'm sure, a part of that Newport team, and then you turned into the director of operations. But that 2011 team, I mean, who are some of the other guys that you had on that team? This one's going to be lined into right. It's going to go into the right center, gap back into the corner, rounding second, heading to third is Thomas. And so aboard with a single is Chris Hamilton, puts runners aboard on the corners for the Gulls.
Yeah, good piece of hitting by Hamilton there. First pitch fastball, gets to the liner in the gap. You get the go-ahead run at third.
What a great asset George Bissell is. Another color commentator in the booth that can analyze some swings for us.
You gotta call the game, I gotta tell you. It's good to be back.
We got a jack of all trades here.
You can stick in the booth with us. You're welcome anytime.
Not my first rodeo, boys. It looks like Sanford's going to make a change here potentially.
Actually, okay, you need to stop because you're taking my job at this point.
No. So we got a moment here. Those teams, I mean, you go back, Daniel Wright, who was just inducted into the Gulls Hall of Fame.
Of course.
He made the majors with the Reds. He was a guy who, when he first got here, he played 2 years with Newport. His first year, he was a guy coming out of the bullpen in the 7th, 8th inning. You didn't think much of him. The second year, he came out as a lights-out starter, and you just see the progression of some of these guys over the years, especially the multi-year guys.
First pitch to Vosick. He rips into right field. That will score one for the Gulls, giving them a 5-4 lead.
A lot of first pitch swinging here by the Gulls.
Once they start getting on top of some pitchers, they aren't afraid to let loose early on in counts. You're seeing evidence of it here with Hamilton and Vosick back-to-back.
Yeah. So it's just incredible to be back in this park. The atmosphere here on Irish night, there's so much history between.
Do you miss Cardines?
I do. I got to tell you, you got to be nostalgic about it. From the hockey-style dugouts where you have them on both sides, just the shared bullpen in left field, and just the history of this ballpark. You're talking years and years of baseball being played here that goes back to the renovations in the 40s and just how the field was created and started out as a railroad junkyard that they basically said, hey, let's turn this into a ball field. And that's the history of this place. And there's something incredible. Like, how can you not be romantic about that and being back here?
And, Babe Ruth and Yogi Berra stepping foot on this field, Satchel Paige. I mean, there's something special about this place. Now, I asked Dave Peck, another broadcaster that was here last year when he joined the booth earlier in the season, do you miss the bus rides? Because they're long ones, some of them, but they can be fun.
I don't miss the one to Danbury, I'll tell you that. I don't know if
pitch.
you've made that trip this year
Oh,
yet.
I have. Is that first pitch to Malloy catches the outside
I think that's
edge.
our overnight. Danbury is no small ride for us.
I mean, what are you
Especially from Maine.
pushing, like 4 hours on that? That's not a fun
I think
one.
it's closer to 5, if I'm being completely honest with you.
No, I mean, the trek I'm intrigued by is Martha's Vineyard. I know the Gulls are going to do that, I think, on Sunday coming up.
That's
yeah.
our first time. 0-1 miss up 1-1. Yeah, of
Figured.
course, we have to drive there and then take a ferry and then, take another bus to the park. I'm from the Midwest. I don't know anything about this.
What's this water thing?
Yeah, same here. I mean, the closest body of water I have is Lake Michigan, and you can clear that thing in no time at all. So
It's a little different here, but I got to tell you, I think it's interesting to see the growth in the league and get an opportunity for more players to get seen and have an opportunity to play professionally.
This 1-2 breaking ball on the inside edge. Caught Malloy looking for strike 3. First strikeout here in the 7th. First out here in the 7th.
Tough call, a little bit inside, got the corner that time. That's a good location. But
Malloy didn't like it, but Rhett Gay on the mound will take it for the Mainers. That will now bring up Hayden Jones at the plate for the Gulls. Now, shifting from, your time here as a broadcaster, talk about a little bit your time as Director of Baseball Operations.
yeah, I think that was an interesting transition.
That first pitch to Jones misses outside, 1-0.
I think it was something at the time the organization was kind of shifting in a new direction, and it was an opportunity for me to take on an additional role. And I credit Chuck Pava and Chris Patsos, Ron Westmoreland, the ownership group here in Newport. They're fantastic, and I learned so much from that experience that I now use in my professional career. And it's a credit to them to just what they've built and that it impacts so many people here on this island. It's fantastic what they've done.
got you a ring, too, so.
Right, of course. Newport.
That's right. You remember the tough losses more than the wins. The one I think about, that experience, the 2012 team that won.
That 1-1 pitch going to be driven into the deep left center gap, but making a nice play is Tate jumping up for out number 2, and you're rubbing your hands. Let's hear it.
He read that ball well. I thought that had a chance to get down. That's a good piece of hitting. Opposite field there. But, it's the 2013 one. I go back to that one. Newport in the finals against Keene. They won game 1. Lost game 2 here. Had to go, they won game 1 here. They lost game 2 in Keene. That's the one that I look back on and say, that one kind of slipped through your fingers. You lose game 3 here at home. That one, you had a chance to go back-to-back. That's the one that kind of sticks out to me. But that 2012 team was incredible.
And now, of course, that first pitch to James in there for strike 1. You're with Roto Sports. Is that correct?
Yeah, so I cover Major League Baseball for NBC Sports over at Roto World, and I wouldn't be doing that if I didn't have this experience here in Newport. I got to tell you that.
That's everyone's dream, is to kind of step up the ladder, and Newport is, a great starting point for that, as they kind of show you the ropes, and you worked your way up, and now, you're with Roto World, and how's that experience like?
It's fantastic. So I cover 6 games 6 nights a week, so the little updates you get on your phone for everybody listening.
That's you.
Yeah, I've been writing those, so tonight's like my first night off in a month, so I'm enjoying it. I got to tell you that, folks.
So you're back with more baseball back here at Cardine, so you
can't
get enough.
Yeah, can't keep me away. So my girlfriend's probably not happy about that, but it's good to be back here.
Baseball's
in
in his blood. You can't fault him for that.
No, it's my calling. It's my passion, and it's something that I'm never going to be away from. And it started here with the Gulls, if I'm being honest with you. Just experiencing it up close and the grind of the season, getting on the bus. You joke about the bus rides, but you end up missing it someday.
I know.
I really think when you look back years from now, you're going to say, man, I missed that when I was tired and I didn't feel like going. I got on the bus anyway, and I called that extra inning game, and it changes you. It really does. It's something special.
It's always the tough times that stick through with you the most.
Absolutely.
You missed that trip to Danbury. You missed that ferry ride to Martha's Vineyard. I heard we had to take charter boats back because the ferry closes. So.
Oh, yeah. You're on a fishing boat. Half of the seats are underneath the water. Half of the seats are right on the water. So if you're not careful, you're going to get splashed.
It's 4th of July. I'm thinking about Jaws. It's just like, it's quite a trip there.
You had to tell me that before our trip. What are you doing? That 2-2 pitch going to be spiked into the dirt, throw down to third. I didn't see the call.
Great base running. I think they called him safe, especially for the trail runner to see the advance to get up into scoring position. Great base running there. See the ball in the dirt, identify it, get to third. It gives the Gulls a chance here to really add some key insurance runs here, I think.
How about that play from Robbie Armitage at third? If he doesn't knock that ball down, Newport has an insurance run and perhaps another one at third base waiting for Austin James.
No, absolutely.
Gulls lead 5-4, 2 runners in scoring position with 2 away. The pitch to Austin James, he thought about, didn't go around, but it's going to catch him looking for strike 3, and that will end things here in the 7th as the Gulls do take a 5-4 lead here on the NECBL Broadcast Network. George, I'm going to let you go, though. Thank you for sticking around for a half an inning. George Bissell,
Appreciate
everybody.
it. Thank you, guys. You're doing a great job. Keep it up, and hey, we'll send it to break 5-4.
You want to send it one more time?
You're listening to the NECBL Broadcast Network.